One, my biological parents wouldn't let me call them mom and dad. They had me call them uncle and aunt. But when I got into Tsinghua University, they'd brag to everyone, "This is my daughter." I would laugh and correct them, "Uncle, aunt, don't just claim any kid." Before starting my senior year, my mom dropped me off at my dad's place. Through the door, I could hear Owen and Bella talking in the living room. They said, "We agreed from the start. Once you gave her away, she's not part of our Alden family. Why bring her back now? We're busy enough with Oscar. We can't take care of her too." My mom, choking up, replied, "She's very obedient. She's your biological child after all, and I have no choice but to return her. If only I weren't sick." I couldn't hear the rest. After a long pause, my mom knocked on the door. "Judy, I'm leaving." I wrung my hands together, but didn't respond. She called my name a few more times, but I stayed quiet. She sighed heavily, and I heard her footsteps fade before the door shut. I sprang up and ran out, catching her just as she entered the elevator. I grabbed her worn-out sleeve. "Mom, I'll drop out and work to pay for your treatment." Slap. Before I could finish, she slapped me across the face. She was trembling, red-eyed. "If you ever say you'll drop out again, I'll beat you to death. You want to earn a living like your dad and me forever?" "Mom," she pressed the button for the first floor and shoved me out of the elevator, harshly saying, "Go. And don't see me unless you get into a good university. And don't call me Mom." As the elevator doors closed, I saw her wipe her eyes fiercely. I dragged myself back to find the door shut, and my suitcase left outside alone. I knocked for half a minute before Bella opened it. Rolling her eyes, she said, "Why the noise?" "Oscar's studying in his room. Thought you went back with your mom." I brought my suitcase in as she showed me to the storage room and said, "You'll sleep here. Fix it up yourself." While cleaning, Owen came by. His pleasant appearance made me hopeful for a moment. But he said, "Call us uncle and aunt. You're my distant cousin's daughter, okay?" I snapped the dusty sheet I was holding, making him cough. I replied coldly, "Got it." After cleaning, I was sweaty. I was about to put my clothes in the washing machine when Bella stopped me. "So dirty. Wash your clothes by hand from now on. And keep your showers short, don't waste water." I hadn't even showered for 10 minutes. Oscar showered for half an hour before. That night, the moonlight at 3 a.m. fell on my small cot. I tossed and turned, repeatedly telling myself, "Judy, the less you expect, the less it'll hurt. They don't love you, so you better love yourself." I started school a year late, now in the same grade as Oscar. Oscar's in the advanced class, but I'm in the parallel class and feel out of place. Everyone talks about summer vacations, movies, and tutoring classes. My summer was spent doing chores, farming, and hospital visits with Mom. Our homeroom teacher, Jason, introduced me to the class, mentioning that I used to have good grades. Didn't get much of a reaction except eye rolls. The boy with gray-blue hair in the back laughed. "Teacher, this chicken head might not even make a phoenix tail here. 5th high school isn't the top school, but it's up there. I came from a small county high school." Jason gave the boy a look. "Proud of being a phoenix tail here?" The gray-blue kid grinned and waved at me. "Come join me, be a phoenix tail with me." Jason glanced at the empty seat next to him, since everyone else already picked their desk mates. "Sit there for now. We'll switch after the assessment. Charlie, don't bully the new kid." As soon as Jason left, Charlie kicked my desk. "Nice tan. Where'd you get it?" I always wanted one but never could. He was pale, not a blemish on his skin, clearly raised in luxury. I said flatly, "Tan from planting and harvesting rice. 100 a day. I can take you next summer." Charlie spun his pen, joking, "100 a day cheap. Wait, I collect rice and I gotta pay you? That's a rip-off. You're loaded and naive, perfect to scam." Charlie squinted with a dangerous glint. "Newbie, you're gutsy messing with me. Do you even know?" Before he finished, I handed him a glass jar. "Want a drink?" He recoiled. "What's that smell?" "Cobra tea I made, good for health." His eyes widened. "You caught cobras?" I got excited. "Yeah. You know what they look like? Long, cold, sticky, they rise up to strike." I poked Charlie's arm, making him flinch. He pushed my hand away. "Don't touch me." I hid my smile. "It's just regular herbal tea. City kids might not fear wild beasts, but small critters can terrify them." During lunch, I overheard class captain Ella and some girls gossip about me. "That new girl's so tacky and dark. From the countryside, what did you expect? Do you think her grades are that good? County education doesn't compare to our school. Last year's county top scorer isn't even in the top 100 here. Pretending to cozy up to Charlie, just a village girl. Today I wore a pink tee my mom bought me. Pink on dark skin isn't the best look, but mom thought girls should wear pink. I took a deep breath. Don't worry about it, just be yourself. We had a mock exam the next day, and Bella cooked a bunch of dishes that night. I love shrimp, and after I grabbed 3, Bella moved the shrimp in front of Oscar, leaving me with just a plate of veggies. Oscar, eat more. Do well on tomorrow's exam, she said, glancing at me. I heard you used to get good grades, but this isn't like the county. Oscar's scores are great. If you don't understand something, Oscar cut her off, don't ask me. I don't have time. Bella forced a smile, that's what I meant. I wouldn't let her bother you. Finish up and go study. Judy, you can do the dishes afterwards. I quickly finished my food and went into the storage room. Bella knocked on the door angrily. I refused to come out. I have exams tomorrow too. With that brain of yours, does studying even matter? You're always at the bottom. Oscar, getting annoyed, finally snapped, can't you just be quiet? I need to study. Only then did she back off. I had been pretty confident in myself. But as soon as I got the exam paper, I started freaking out. The questions here were more flexible and emphasized different things compared to my previous exams. Some even seemed out of syllabus. Oscar, on the other hand, was very confident. Bella had him take one-on-one tutoring over the summer, so he was ahead. By Monday, the results were out. Owen took Oscar to school and was supposed to give me a ride too, but Oscar locked the car door, so embarrassing. I don't want my classmates thinking we're related. So, I ended up taking the bus. At the classroom door, I ran into Ella. Her smile had a hint of sarcasm. Results are coming out, Judy. You must have aced it. Not too bad. Over the past few days, I noticed her hostility was likely because she had a thing for Charlie. She raised an eyebrow, smirking, we'll see then. As soon as morning study began, Jason came in with the score report and ranking sheet. The classroom was abuzz with whispers. Jason slammed the papers on the desk, glaring. Think you all did well? Only 5 students scored above 550. Our class has the lowest average among the 7. Silence fell immediately. Everyone avoided his gaze. Even Charlie, usually half awake, sat a bit straighter. Jason's eyes scanned the room and softened when he landed on Ella. Ella, you did well with 590 points. Ella smirked at me as if saying, see, that's a good score. But Jason's next words froze her smile. Top of the class is Judy, with 605 points. Impressive for a transfer student, keep it up. Everyone turned to me murmuring, no way she scored first. Seems the small town has good education quality. Charlie raised an eyebrow, Judy, hiding some skills there. I wasn't too thrilled though. The score wasn't what I wanted. As soon as the bell rang, someone asked Ella for help with a problem. Her tone was bitter. Ask the top student next time. She's much better. Didn't you hear Jason praise her? A few girls tried to comfort Ella, saying she'd be first next time. Their voices weren't quiet, so Charlie slammed the desk too loud. You're disturbing my sleep. The room went silent. He glared at me angrily before turning over, closing his eyes. Was he defending me? After school, Bella cooked a big meal. She piled the abalone and chicken legs on Oscar's plate, then carefully asked, so, how did the results go? Pretty good, 603, Oscar replied. Bella beamed, over 600? Fantastic. The summer tutor really paid off. Keep it up, and a top college is within reach. As I grabbed a chicken wing, Bella frowned. Oscar scored 603, and you? Just eating away. Girls who eat like that will end up fat. With your scores, I interrupted, I scored 605. What's 605 even? She stopped, shock written all over her face. What did you say? I cleared my throat, 605. 2 points more than him. They all sat there stunned. If they can't handle this, they're gonna lose it later. Oscar could have seen the ranks, but he'd ignored me all along. While they were reeling, I quickly ate more. Satisfied, I put down my chopsticks and smiled at Oscar. If you don't get something, don't come ask me. I'm busy. Oscar turned red with anger. Bella slammed the table. What's with your attitude? He's your brother. You should share. Owen frowned too, you're the big sister. Be the bigger person. If Oscar was 10 or 8 years younger, sure, I'd be more accommodating. But he's just a year younger. I stood up looking at him. Feel free to ask, I'm happy to help. Oscar gritted through his teeth. Don't need it. Knew it. While Bella was still in shock, I slipped back to the storage room to avoid her nagging about doing the dishes. Around 9 after my shower, Oscar stood at the bathroom door. His look was dark. Don't think you're something special. It was just basic questions this time, plus I messed up my answer sheet. Even if you suck up to our parents, their money's mine. The good college is mine, and you, a country bumpkin, can forget it. I was the one abandoned as a kid, the one who never got love. So why does he act so justified in hating me? 3. I kinda held back that bitter feeling, moved a bit closer to him, and whispered, Are you scared I'll take everything you have? He froze. I just grinned wider. Well, what can I say? I'm pretty interested now. How about we start by beating you by 30 points on the next test? Oscar was obviously rattled. In our senior year, we only get 1 day off per weekend, and he asked Bella to hire 3 tutors for him. He focused on brushing up his weaker subjects, Chinese, English, and chemistry. Bella didn't mind the money. She just kept praising him for being so diligent. Once, when the tutor was explaining something, the study door opened while I was getting water. Oscar immediately got up and shut it. He probably thought I'd learned some secret trick and beat him. I made quite a splash with the mock test, and my classmates started coming to me with their questions. It was a little awkward. The curriculum at our county school doesn't match up with this one. They've finished all the high school material here, but I still have gaps in my knowledge from my old school. So, I was pretty inconsistent. After not being able to solve problems a few times, people figured I was just a fluke. I didn't bother explaining. My time's precious. I need to fill those gaps quickly, and it's fine if they don't ask me questions. Except for the occasional chat with Mom on my phone. I've put all my energy into studying. I almost wish I could squeeze an extra minute into every minute. The midterms came up fast. A few days before, Jason announced something big. Following school tradition, the top student of the parallel classes could replace the last student in the advanced class after every major test. My eyes lit up. This is my chance. The advanced class gets extra resources and has a better study vibe. And yeah, partly, I just want to mess with Bella's family a bit. Charlie grabs my shoulder and says, The advanced class is full of bookworms, man. It's no fun. Stay here, I'll have your back. I just nudged him away. Move, you're distracting me. He looked at me with a bit of intensity and said, You look a lot fairer now. I guess I got lighter without all the sun from working outside. He leaned a bit closer, his breath brushing my nose. And you're not bad to look at. I couldn't care less and turned away, only to see Ella glaring at me. After class, she cornered me in the hallway outside the bathroom. The spot in the advanced class won't be yours, she said with a sneer. I shrugged it off with a smile. You like Charlie, right? If I leave class 8, wouldn't that work for you? Ella just scoffed, 2 different things. He's just messing with you for fun. You didn't actually think he liked you, did you? I stayed calm and said, I don't need anyone's approval. I just need to keep pushing forward to get into a good college. That's my mom's wish, and my only chance to fly high. I walked back to the classroom, turned the corner, and found Charlie leaning against the wall with a lollipop in his mouth. He looked at me with a cool smile. Never pegged you as a little ungrateful wolf, Judy. I gritted my teeth and didn't respond. After that, Charlie pretty much ignored me, though he continued being loud even when I reminded him to tone it down. But whatever, we wouldn't be deskmates for much longer. The night before the test, I came out of the shower and wanted to video call my mom. I found my phone soaking in the kitchen sink. Oscar just shrugged maliciously, oops, slippery hands. I quickly got it out. Sure enough, it wouldn't turn on. This phone was my only link to Mom, packed with our family photos. It was my dad's gift for getting into our county high school. A few months later, he passed away suddenly. That phone is the last thing he ever gave me. No more gifts from him. I can't share spring flowers, summer leaves, autumn fruits, or winter snow with him anymore. I was shaking with anger and yelled, Oscar, you did this on purpose. Bella and Owen stepped out. Bella was indifferent. If it broke, it broke. It's just a crappy phone. High schoolers shouldn't have phones anyway. Arguing was pointless. I put on my shoes and rushed out the door. I had to get it fixed. Had to. I visited 3 repair shops. They all said too old. No parts. Data's stuck. You should have saved it to the cloud. It started to rain. The drizzling autumn rain soaked me through, chilling me to the bone. I wandered through narrow streets with my phone in hand. No repair shops anywhere. People in the city have money. They probably just replace instead of repair. The streetlights cast weak, yellow light, stretching my shadow far. I hugged my knees, curled up, and cried silently. Dad, I'm sorry. I missed seeing you one last time. I couldn't stay with Mom to take care of her. And now, I've ruined the phone you gave me. The late-night street was quiet. Only the roar of a motorcycle tearing through like thunder drowned out my sobs. The roaring stopped nearby, and an impatient voice said, Judy? I didn't move. A strong hand lifted my head, and I saw Charlie's narrow eyes through my tears. Rain dripped from his gray-blue hair onto my nose. He rubbed his head, sounding irritated. What's wrong with you, crying out here past 11? You know that construction site across the street has hundreds of workers, right? Tears poured down as I explained my phone. It broke, and I can't fix it. It's my dad's phone. He frowned, snatched the phone. This piece of junk? It's not junk. All right, it's a rare treasure. He pulled me up off the ground. All right, I'll take you home and I'll fix that phone. I clung to his hand. Really? I never break promises. He walked me back, and as I waved from the balcony, he roared off on his motorcycle. I got soaked, so I had no choice but to take another shower. Midway through, the water turned cold. I hurriedly got dressed and came out to find out that the water heater in the kitchen was turned off. Oscar strolled out of his room to get some water. Smiling from the shadows, wrapped in a blanket, I teased him. Oscar, you keep making things difficult for me. Are you scared? Scared you'll give it your all and still lose to me? Don't worry, no matter how hard you try, I'll still beat you. Just wait and see. After throwing those words out there, the next day I woke up feeling dizzy. I had a fever, but I still went to take the exams. I took the test in the same room as Ella. She looked at my pale face and covered her mouth, laughing. How careless of you to catch a cold at this time. Aren't you just handing your spot to someone else? I ignored her sarcastic remarks, chugging hot water while answering the questions. I didn't dare to take any meds since they make my mind foggy. Gritting my teeth through the last exam, I came out to see Charlie leaning against a column in the hallway, fiddling with my phone. When he saw me, he tilted his chin up proudly. See, there's nothing like a phone without me. I was thrilled, feeling all the blood rush to my head. I ran over to grab the phone, but fainted before I could even touch it. I woke up at the school infirmary, staring right at Charlie's face, dark as the inside of a kettle. He laid into me with sarcasm. Judy, you're something else. Fainting into my arms, just so you wouldn't have to deal with the high fever. You really put in some effort. I reached out, tugged on his sleeve, and with a hoarse voice said, Charlie, I'm starving. I want some braised pork ribs, red cooked pork, sweet and sour fish. Could you get me some? I hadn't had much of an appetite while I had the fever, but now I felt good. I could eat a whole cow. Charlie got up and kicked the corner of the bed. I owe you something, huh? Want meat? Dream on, have some porridge. After getting a shot and taking meds on time, I was feeling much better by Monday. The midterm exam results were about to come out. That morning, I left home just a step behind Oscar. He deliberately waited for me at the corner. The morning sun hid his sinister smile. You were so sick, I doubt you did well. A bottom feeder like you shouldn't dream of turning the tables. When I got to the classroom, Ella started on me again. Looks like you're not getting into the advanced class this time. It's okay. Once you're used to disappointment, it's not so bad. Just stay in our class. It's where you belong. Everyone must have known I took the exams while sick, and their eyes said, she doesn't stand a chance this time. In the golden light of an autumn morning, I squinted against the sunlight. I thought, I've never slacked off for a second. Is this time finally going to go my way? Can I turn all that negativity into my stepping stones? During the anxious wait, right when homeroom was about to end, Jason showed up with the exam papers and a ranking sheet. Everyone got tense. For once, Charlie wasn't asleep. I looked at him puzzled, and he whispered, I'm kind of nervous. What, scared someone will take your last place? He replied darkly, I'm worried for you, you heartless thing. You've worked so hard. What if it doesn't turn out the way you hope? And what if it does? His words were like a tongue twister. Yet somehow all of a sudden I felt calm. I've given it my all. If it doesn't work out this time, there will be others. Before Charlie could respond, Jason called out, Charlie, what are you mumbling about? Charlie lazily responded, I'm just worried someone will snatch my last spot. Jason nearly blew a fuse. Don't worry. No one's fighting you for that honor. Charlie gave a mischievous smile. Jason took a deep breath and switched to a more pleasant tone. Our class did average overall, but some students performed really well. Ella looked at Jason expectantly. Catching her signal, Jason sighed, Ella, you fell behind this time. You're 10th in the class. You need to focus more on studying. Ella looked like she'd just been hit by lightning and whispered, I thought I did well. Jason then turned to me with a smile. Special shout out to Judy for sticking with it while sick and doing exceptionally well. Charlie was more anxious than I was. How did she do? I squeezed his hand, feeling nervous again. Charlie scoffed, acting all cool and calm, huh? It was all a front. Still, he extended his arm towards me. Jason enunciated clearly. She ranked 38th in the grade, the highest among the parallel classes. The huge weight I'd been carrying lifted. Only then did I realize Charlie's arm was red from my grip. He looked at me, smiling, congrats, you got what you wished for. Jason spent a solid few minutes on motivational pep talks about perseverance and reaping rewards. The way everyone looked at me changed. It was a look I knew well from my old school. Only Ella's gaze was so resentful. She seemed to want to eat me alive. After homeroom, Jason called me to his office. You're a great student. The school wants you to move to the advanced class soon. I raised an eyebrow. Isn't that Oscar's class? I can't wait. Thanks, Jason, for everything. Going forward, Jason patted my shoulder. I teach physics in the advanced class too. So our journey isn't over. Pack up and head over. I've already given you the green light. Judy, I believe this is just your starting point. Keep it up. If anyone could inspire with motivational talks, it was Jason. Back in the classroom, Charlie was nowhere to be found. I packed my things and left a note on his desk. Thanks, I'm off to the advanced class. See you around. I was heading out with my books when I ran into Ella. She glared at me. Don't think you've won just because you made it to the advanced class. Next time, I'll knock you off. Sure, don't make me wait till finals, I laughed. Ella turned beet red as I sidestepped her and headed up the stairs. The top floor, where the advanced classes were, beckoned. 5 Aiden, the homeroom teacher of class 1, was on the phone and gestured for me to wait by the classroom door. As I got there, Oscar came out. He already looked upset, and seeing me only made him clench his jaw tighter. What are you doing here? I told you before, at school, we pretend like we don't know each other. I just smiled at him. You should be the one saying that. He looked confused and was about to ask what I meant when Aiden came over. Aiden frowned at Oscar, saying, Oscar, class is about to start. Where are you going? Seeing Aiden, Oscar was like a mouse caught by a cat. Then Aiden turned to me, his tone softer. Judy, come on in. The study atmosphere in class 1 was way more intense than in class 7. Aiden tapped the desk a few times, and gradually, students lifted their heads from their piles of textbooks. He introduced me to the class. This is the top student from the parallel class, Judy. She'll be joining us. Oscar looked shocked and blurted out, no way. Aiden's expression darkened. Judy ranked 38th in the grade despite having a cold. You've got all the best resources, and yet scored 40 points lower. Where do you get off questioning this? Oscar was visibly tense, furious even, but he didn't dare backtalk Aiden. Aiden glanced around the room. All right, Oscar, move to the back and give Judy your seat. Oscar protested, Aiden, but Aiden cut him off sharply. If you're not happy, do better next time. Senior year is all about results. After a few moments of silence, Oscar began to begrudgingly move his desk. I walked over with my books, smiling at him. Hurry up, class is about to start. Oscar was so mad his neck veins were bulging. In a hushed voice I said, see? I won anyway. He was practically shaking with anger, his eyes bloodshot. No one else noticed much, because everyone was so focused on their studies. Besides, ranking 38th in the grade wasn't that impressive. I looked at the class rankings earlier, and saw Oscar was 45th. So close to being out. No wonder Aiden wasn't happy with him. At dinner, Bella carefully asked about Oscar's test scores. Oscar snapped back, "Stop asking. It's annoying." I cleared my throat, I know, but Oscar cut me off, glaring, "Shut up, it's none of your business." Bella and Owen were quick to defend him. "Yeah, if Oscar doesn't want to talk about it, it's up to him. He's definitely doing better than you." I just raised an eyebrow and gave Oscar one of those looks. He went red-faced, slammed down his chopsticks, and stormed off without eating. You can't run from the truth. He forgot to mention that I should remind them, "Uncle, Aunt, there's a parent-teacher conference tomorrow night. Don't forget." Bella scowled at me. "We won't be attending yours. Scoring at the bottom is so embarrassing." Why was she so sure I'd be at the bottom? Well, they'd find out anyway. The parent-teacher meeting was during evening study, so it didn't interfere with classes, but ensured parents could come. Bella and Owen truly cared about Oscar. Even though school said only one parent had to show, they both came. Their expressions changed as soon as they saw Oscar in the back row. Then they noticed me sitting in Oscar's seat, and looked shocked and puzzled. As Aiden read out the class rankings, and they heard my rank, 38th in the grade, 15th in the class, it was like they'd been struck by lightning. When Oscar's rank and scores came up, they looked down embarrassed. Aiden praised me, mentioning I scored well even though my parents were away and I was sick. Bella and Owen were visibly uncomfortable, faces going through shades of red and white. Their precious son scored poorly, while I, the so-called underdog, got praised. That must have been tough to swallow. After the parent-teacher conference, they stayed behind, trying to slip Aiden a few cards, but he refused. Rather than spending on Judy, put more effort and resources on Oscar. If things stay this way, he could be displaced next time. Bella and Owen left, chagrined and silent. After evening study, they drove home as a family. Just outside the gate, the car stopped. Owen said, "Get in." Oscar snapped, "If she gets in, I'm out." Owen quickly placated him, all right, don't be mad. She can walk." The car sped off, leaving me in a cloud of exhaust. November nights are really cold. A few steps away, I heard a woman reprimanding in despair. "Can you focus, please? You're a senior now. You're smart. Why are you acting like this?" Do you know how embarrassed I was when Jason read the scores today? A blue-haired teen, head down, nonchalantly sucking on a lollipop, shrugged. "If you're embarrassed, then don't come. You never used to." In the late autumn, the woman's thin silhouette was extremely lonely. "Charlie, what do you want me to do?" Charlie looked up, eyes gleaming under the dim streetlight, just like before. "Ignore me. Pretend I don't exist." He finished speaking, and instinctively glanced my way. I instinctively shrank back, quickening my pace. Soon enough, someone grabbed my collar. "Where are your parents?" "They didn't come." His tone was gruff. "Trying to get yourself killed? I'll walk you back." As he tugged on my backpack, a sleek Mercedes G-Class pulled up. The car window rolled down, revealing a stunning woman's face. "I'll drive you guys." Charlie flatly refused. "No need." I rubbed my arms. "I'm kind of cold." Charlie gave me a fierce look. "And my foot hurts a bit." Charlie ruffled his hair twice and said, "You're something else." Then he opened the car door, pushed me inside, and slammed the door shut. Warmth surrounded me instantly, and the streetlights cast shadows on his profile. "Did you see the note I left you?" he asked. "Yeah." That killed the conversation, and I found myself with nothing more to say. Thankfully, his mom started chatting softly with me about school and grades, steering clear of any mention of my own parents. "Just before we got home, Mrs. Mindy mentioned Judy. I'm thinking of getting him some tutors, but he refuses. Could you talk to him for me?" Charlie kicked his seat and said, "Why'd you rope her in as a go-between? We're not that close." "Mrs. Mindy sighed and dropped the subject. At home, Owen and Bella were waiting for me. They immediately jumped in, asking, "Can you talk to Aiden about switching seats with Oscar? His eyesight's bad." I slammed the door on them, which earned me a string of curses. Bella warned me not to get too cocky, saying next time I'd surely drop back to regular classes. Are they really my parents? Why dump all their bad vibes on me? I took a deep breath, telling myself over and over, "Don't care, don't be sad. Turn this sadness into fuel, and make something bright from it." I've never gone to bed before midnight. During everyone else's lunch break, I keep my head buried in books. I keep working away, making up for my weaknesses. I block out any doubts and negativity from people around me. Oscar is just like me. He sleeps even less than I do, always sporting dark circles under his eyes. We're both running on pure determination. Soon the monthly exams rolled around. The night before, when I went to bed at 11, Oscar's light was still on. I gave it my all during the 2 days of exams, and then I crashed, spent the entire day not touching a book. I just lay low in the storage room, watching the autumn sky. Around this time of year, the rice would be ready for harvest. Mom, just hang in there a bit more. Once I get into college, I can help you out. Monday came with the results. Aiden rushed into the classroom, bubbling with excitement. We did great this time, he announced. Out of the top 10 in the grade, our class took 5 spots, and we also have the top ranker. He paused, building suspense. Everyone looked expectantly at the previous top students. To their surprise, Aiden smiled and called my name. Judy got first place this time, a whole 10 points ahead of second place. That's impressive. The higher you climb, the tighter the competition. A 10-point lead is big. Everyone stared at me in shock. I was just as moved and instinctively turned my head. Seeing the acne on the face of the person next to me, I smiled wryly. He wasn't Charlie. It was a joy I had no one to share with. The past month, Oscar threw himself into studying, aside from eating. Sadly, he didn't do well. He scored 545, over 100 points less than me, bottom in our advanced class. Aiden was blunt about it, tapping his desk after morning study. Rules are rules. You're moving to class 7. I looked back at him and raised an eyebrow. He clenched his fists. After Aiden left, he kicked over his desk, books scattering everywhere. Judy, don't push it. Everyone looked over, and before I could say anything, a teasing voice rang from the door. Did she punch you or insult you? I turned and saw Charlie lounging against the door frame, arms crossed, his words stinging. Oh, I get it. You feel dumb in comparison to her smarts, right? Oscar's face turned red with anger. I scored better than you, he retorted. Charlie laughed and looked at me. Judy is smarter and works harder than I do. I'll admit that. You won't. Oscar shook with rage. Admitting I was better seemed harder on him than anything else. Seeing him like that, I felt calm. It's okay. Time will prove everything. This is my starting point. I'll only keep climbing. For you, it's the start of a downward slope. Oscar left, looking defeated and angry. No one in class offered him any comfort, showing how little regard they had for him. Charlie was still there. He leaned on the railing in the hall, wind ruffling his dark blue hair, revealing his handsome profile. Need something from me? He asked. Tossing me a carton of milk, he said, congrats on getting first place. Is that all? I replied. He eyed me sideways, eyes softened by the autumn chill. Thought you'd want someone to celebrate with. My heart felt a little tight, a strange, indescribable feeling. I'm an outsider, climbing higher in this school, but every morning and night finds me alone. I looked right at him. Charlie, why not focus on your studies? Come with me to Beijing someday? Me? He asked. Yeah, you. The wind teased his hair, then let it settle back. He blinked his long lashes over his captivating eyes and replied softly, I can't. I leaned in and said, hand over your cash. He paused, then obeyed. There's about $500. I fished out some coins. That's my every last penny. You say they don't love you, but you've never lacked anything. Look at me. Life is yours and youth won't come again. If you gamble your future, what good is even a win? I looked deep into his eyes. Charlie, let's make it to Beijing together. It's huge there, and I'm just a country bumpkin. They'll laugh at me for sure, but with you, I won't be afraid. Charlie stared at me for a few seconds, then messed with my hair, smiling broadly. Okay, I'll think about it. As the bell rang, marking the start of class, I turned and saw Charlie lumbering down the stairs. 7, his back looked more sunny and handsome than ever. That night when I got home, even if Bella and Owen didn't want to know, I couldn't wait to announce that I was first in my class. Of course, I also mentioned that Oscar got demoted to the regular class. It caused quite the ruckus at home, so much that Bella didn't even give me dinner. Honestly, I wasn't hungry. Watching them all freak out made me feel full with happiness. The next day, I went to school feeling refreshed and was surprised to see Charlie sitting in the back row of my class. I blinked, thinking I was in the wrong place. He mouthed to me cash power. As soon as class ended, he approached me with problems, asking me to explain them. His attitude was so entitled. He pulled a Ferrero Rocher out of his pocket saying, "Hurry up, I'm a busy guy." It was clear he was serious about studying. If he wasn't asking me questions, he was pestering the teachers, shocking them. Jason even whispered to me, "Did something happen to Charlie?" But most people were just waiting for him to fail. Our class was full of the school's elite, and he had a long way to go. I kept encouraging him. I believed in him. It wasn't just him though. Even for my last first place ranking, some were dissatisfied and looking to beat me at the end of semester. Oscar's temper was getting worse. He'd lose it often in the study room, unable to solve problems, throwing things around. Bella once cautiously suggested, "Maybe you could ask your sister?" To which he yelled, "Get lost, she's not my sister." As winter set in, the weather got colder. Bella said my clothes could be washed in the machine and would place the meat dishes in front of me. On Christmas, she even gifted me a pink down jacket, saying, "I bought this especially for you, try it on." The jacket was warm and matched my skin tone perfectly. But sadly, this warmth came too late. The end of semester exams arrived. This time, it was a district joint exam involving 15 high schools, simulating the college entrance exam process. The night before the exam, I carefully checked all my stuff. Yet, when I entered the exam room the next day, I found my pencils and pens had been switched. More tricks, huh? Luckily, I was in the same exam hall as Charlie. As a student with extra supplies, he had a whole bag full of pens. During the test break, I glanced at Charlie and noticed how seriously he was writing. The morning sun shone on his side profile, handsome as ever. The classroom was filled with the sound of writing. Maybe this was the sound of our youth slipping away. In senior year, we had extra classes over winter break. After 3 days off, we returned to school, and the exam results were out. Among the schools we competed against, 2 were top high schools in the city. Our 5th high wasn't at an advantage here. Aiden looked especially serious this time. Everyone was on edge, thinking we didn't do well. True enough, he said, "Judy, stand up. You really disappointed me this time." My heart sank. I felt like I did okay. I answered most of the questions. Classmates shot varied looks my way, some even looking pleased. People are complicated that way. I climbed fast, made a few envious. But Charlie showed genuine concern. Aiden took a deep breath. "You got second in the district, just 3 points shy of first. Why couldn't you push a little further?" "What?" Aiden then broke into a grin. "This district exam, you got second place. Out of nearly 10,000 students, you came in second. You're impressive, keep it up." Charlie, with a beaming smile, started clapping. Others joined in, and soon the applause was roaring. Aiden expressed, "Judy's progress in just half a year is something to be proud of. If she can do it, so can you." Beside her, Charlie also improved greatly, scoring 520 points. Not much for our class, but it's a big leap for Charlie. After morning study, he came over. "Congratulations, Judy. And congrats to you, Charlie." Oscar, on the other hand, tanked his exam, scoring only 519, even a point less than Charlie. He completely broke down, stormed into my room, and tore my test papers to shreds. Whatever. I knew the questions well, so let him rip it up. He no longer even qualified to be my rival, not worth my time. Soon it would be New Year, and I really wanted to visit Mom. But she refused, saying, "This is your first New Year with the Alden family. You must spend it with them. I told you, don't come back to see me unless you get into a good college." Bella bought me shoes and clothes online, and Owen gave me $200 as a New Year's gift. Maybe they were starting to accept me just a little, but reality showed me otherwise. On New Year's Eve dinner, I was a bit late, as I was video chatting with Mom. Oscar threw a huge fit, sarcastically saying, "Now that you're second in the district, should the whole family wait for you to eat? Mom, Dad, now that you have her, you don't need me, right?" He stormed off, and Owen and Bella hurried to calm him down sweetly. Bella dragged me out and told me to take a walk until he cooled off. slamming the door behind me. On this holiday of family reunion, I was kicked out. Without my phone or a warm coat. Fireworks blossomed in the distant sky. Laughter filled every home. But I was out of place in my slippers, wandering aimlessly. A black Mercedes G-Wagon stopped before me, and a fiery figure leapt out, gripping my shoulder. "Judy, what are you doing wandering here?" Mindy chided. No bad talk on such an auspicious night. They insisted I join them for New Year celebrations. The Vermin family lived in a big standalone house, with a garden spanning 3 acres. The Lunar New Year's Eve dinner was catered from a hotel, and it filled up the entire table. My bowl was piled high with food like a little mountain. During the meal, Mindy stepped out to take a call. After we finished eating, she held my hand and said, "I've been fond of you since the last time we met. I've talked to your uncle and aunt, and you can stay at my place for a few more days." "You know them?" I asked. She gave a gentle smile. "Your aunt works at my best friend's company. My husband is the general manager there. Starshine Company is state-owned, and Owen's been there for about 2 decades. Back in the day, the rules were strict. Having extra children could mean losing your job. They gave me to my parents, claiming I was lost, all because they wanted a son and didn't look back for 18 years. Meanwhile, it would be great if you could help Charlie with his schoolwork. If it weren't for you, this child, Mom," Charlie interrupted impatiently, cutting her off. Mindy just smiled indulgently. Mindy bought me several new outfits. I've always wanted a daughter. When Charlie was little, I dressed him as a girl. Charlie rolled his eyes. "Mom, please stop." I stayed until school started on the 6th day of the Lunar New Year. Mindy arranged boarding school for me. "This last semester is crucial. It's better for you to stay at school, given that your uncle and aunt's place isn't great for studying." I wasn't against it. But before, Bella and Owen didn't want to pay for it. "With your help, Charlie will score over 600, and we'll give you a big red envelope," Charlie said, slapping my shoulder. Mindy nodded. "Starting from 520 as a benchmark, for every point above, you get $2,000. Tears welled as she held my hand. "Don't refuse. This money is well spent. I'm grateful you inspired him." Later, Owen and Bella came secretly, persuading me to live with them again. They said they convinced Oscar, and as siblings, we should support each other these last months of school. They wanted me to help Oscar get into a decent college. But Oscar's mindset was far from achieving anything decent. Politely, I replied, "Uncle, Aunt, I'm good with staying at school. Gotta go to class now, bye." With the new semester, my learning was on another level. Problems that once seemed tough like functions and derivatives were now easy to tackle. Every problem I solved boosted my confidence, putting my studies in a positive cycle. Final high school year meant endless practice exams. I ranked first in our district's initial exam, while Charlie got 550. In the second, a 30-school joint exam, I was second and Charlie scored 576. After these successes, doubts about me vanished. Luck could ace someone an exam or two, but not consistently. For the third exam, the whole city's schools competed, and it was extra tough. Even top schools were struggling. In the end, I was city's second, only a point behind first. Given our school's differences from the top schools, this was unexpected for everyone. Even as most students' scores declined, Charlie surprised everyone with over 600, ranking in the top 30 of his grade. When the results came, Mindy was over the moon. She drove us out for a celebratory meal. On our way out, I saw Oscar slouched under the weight of his heavy backpack in the rearview mirror. He looked defeated. How did he score? I hadn't thought about him in a while. Recently, Charlie and I had been sitting together, and Aiden even joked about us dating, though we spent any free moment solving problems. Solving a previously tough problem felt like flying. Every effort did pay off. Hard work seemed to pass lightning fast. The fourth and last big practice exam was nearing, the one most like the real college entrance exams, less than a month away. I scored 722, first in the city. It was a personal record. Several teachers took me aside, advising me to stay calm, not to let anything break my focus. Our school hadn't seen a top scorer in years. Though it wasn't spoken, I aimed for Tsinghua University. Getting into Tsinghua meant rewards from the school and beyond. Enough for my mom's kidney surgery. Mom, please hold on just a bit longer. Charlie also did great, with 635, more than enough for a prestigious school. Bella and Owen visited me with food and clothes multiple times, but Ms. Mindy had all my needs covered. June came, hot and sticky, and so did the crucial college entrance exams. Ms. Mindy took me to her place. This is a turning point in your life. Nothing should interfere. I felt unstoppable until faced with unforeseen malice. The night before the exam, Oscar contacted me gloating, Judy, guess what? Your mom in the countryside hasn't had dialysis in over 10 days. That's impossible. I just video called her yesterday, and she was fine. Panic hit when I couldn't reach her after hanging up. I called her doctor, who hesitantly told me to focus on the exam. How could I possibly do that with this weighing on me? Charlie noticed my distress, reassured me and informed Ms. Mindy of the situation. Ms. Mindy quickly called up connections in our county to find my mom. She held my hand tightly, Judy. Your mom has been longing to see you succeed. This is not the time to panic. Charlie said, it's just about the money. And my family isn't short on that. He knew I didn't want to owe anyone. My mom can help you cover it for now. Once you get into Tsinghua or Peking University and win a scholarship, you can pay us back. My mom really hasn't gone to dialysis for 2 weeks. She's been lying to me, saying she had money. Mrs. Mindy paid the fees first, and after seeing a video of my mom in the hospital, I finally felt relieved. Oscar was at the same test center as me. We bumped into each other at the entrance, and he gave me a sinister smile. If it weren't for Charlie and Mrs. Mindy, I might have lost my mind because of him. As I opened the test paper, I told myself, Judy, 12 years of hard work come down to this moment. Give it your all. Nothing can hold you back. After 2 days of exams, Mrs. Mindy picked me up in her car and took me straight to the county. She's so kind. She really gets me. My mom had lost so much weight, and when she saw me, tears just rolled down her face. I hugged her tightly. I missed you so much, Mom. I couldn't wait for the exam results to see you. She said, oh, honey, your teachers all told me how amazing you are at school. She touched my face. You did your best. Whether you get in or not, it's up to fate now. The night before the results came out, I got emails from Tsinghua and Peking University. I didn't know which one to choose, so I asked Charlie. He casually said, whatever you want. Wherever you go, I'll go. It took me a few seconds to process. What do you mean by that? I got accepted too, he replied nonchalantly. I studied hard just to go to Beijing with you. So wherever you go, I'm there too. I was so speechless with excitement. He cupped my face, his minty breath on my skin. Judy, on such a happy day, how about a kiss? If you don't say anything, I'll take that as a yes. You girls always play hard to get. I didn't agree, but before I could speak, he started kissing me. It went on forever before he let go. Forehead against mine, he said, Judy, you're so sweet. I just had ice cream. I like this taste. From now on, have one before we kiss. That side exam results came out the next day. I scored a 716, the top science student. Charlie got 714, ranking third in the province. In the end, we both chose Tsinghua. Our school hadn't had scores this good in ages. They put up our photos on the bulletin board. With all the awards combined, I got over 1 million. Charlie got a bit less, around 500,000. He handed me his bank card. You're in charge of our money now. You handle the finances. After we received our acceptance, I went back to the Aldens to pack my things. Their door had big joyous decorations, and they set off firecrackers when I showed up. Neighbors gathered around. This is your daughter who got into Tsinghua, smart and pretty. Bella smiled, she takes after me. I looked at them amused. Uncle, Aunt, be careful who you claim. You made it clear before. I'm your distant cousin's daughter. They looked embarrassed. Owen said sternly, we're your real parents. That's a fact you can't deny. I replied. And the fact that you abandoned me and didn't want to recognize me later, that can't be erased either. I took out $6,562 from my bag. I've kept track of every penny you spent on me. Here it is, including $2,000 for rent. After packing up, Oscar stood at the door, staring at me coldly. I smiled at him. I said before, I don't care about anything in this house. Take good care of your riches. He gritted his teeth. Don't be too proud. I just smiled. I heard you're repeating your studies. I wish you the best of luck. See you at Tsinghua. The end.